Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at an old kid's toy and thought, yeah, that thing needs to be put into a wood chipper pronto? Well, I've got some bad news because you can burn it, bury it, or chop it into pieces, but this monkey always comes back. And every time that it hits its drum, it's going to cause one of the most random, brutal, and hilarious deaths that you've ever seen. So we're here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the monkey of death in The Monkey. This toy is about to make their lives a living hell. One day, many years ago, this deadbeat father, Petey here, shows up at an antique shop looking to return a horrifying toy monkey. He says that he bought it for his twin sons, Hal and Bill, but that was his biggest mistake because ever since then, it's been giving him nothing but trouble, and the owner here is about to find out exactly what he means. He points out that the toy looks broken because its arm is stuck, but Petey here says that the absolute last thing they want is for it to hit the drum, until a few seconds later when that's actually what ends up happening. The owner just stands there with an amused look on his face, but then all of a sudden a rat chews through the very last thread of this rope, causing a halberd to fall and set off this scuba diver's spear gun, which then sends the spear hurtling across the room and straight through the owner's chest. But it's not done yet. Before he's even processed what just happened, this monkey hits the drum again, and this time the spear launches back out, dragging his intestines all the way to the other side of the store. That makes one down with 24 more to go. Desperate to get rid of it, Petey grabs a flamethrower from the shelf and dramatically sets it on fire, but even that won't be enough to stop this monkey from tormenting his family for the rest of their lives. Okay, this percussion-playing primate is nothing but pure evil, and Petey here is going to regret the day that it ever came into his life. After watching the monkey treat this guy's intestines like a magician pulling scarves out of his sleeve, he took the next logical step and tried cleansing this demon with fire, but this actually might have been another mistake. Clearly, the monkey here is being inhabited or possessed by some kind of evil spirit. The problem is that by burning the toy, you're only destroying the vessel, and it most likely won't have any effect against the actual entity itself. Now, with that being said, we can actually compare Petey's problem to the real-life story of the Warrens and their famous Annabelle doll, which we covered on the channel parts 1 through 3 recently. Check it out. Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were both highly respected demonologists, worried that if they ever tried to destroy it, they might accidentally unleash the spirit that was manipulating it, causing it to become even more dangerous. So instead, they switched to a containment strategy, sealing the doll inside of a blessed glass case, where it still remains to this day. He's quickly going to realize that the monkey just keeps coming back, so he might want to try taking a similar approach here. In the films, the Warrens used church glass to build Annabelle's case, using its holy aura as an extra layer of protection beyond just the physical container itself. He should try gathering materials like wood and glass from a local church, or have a priest officially bless whatever he's going to use. I'd also take some sacred items like a crucifix, a Bible, or some holy water, and place them around the container to help cancel out its demonic energy. He'll have to keep a close eye on it for the rest of his life, making sure that he maintains the protective barrier and that nobody accidentally sets it free. But it might be the only way to stop the monkey from hurting anyone else. Otherwise, he could always just try passing it on to another unsuspecting meat shield. But after seeing what it does to anyone who disrespects it, for now I'd say that containment is definitely the safer approach. One day after their parents split up, the boys are looking through some of their dad's old things when Hal finds a strange looking box. It's a big blue circle with organ grinder monkey etched into the lid, and the words "like life" written underneath. Opening it up, they find the same creepy ass monkey still looking like it just came off the shelf, and the only instructions come from a small sticker telling them to turn the key and find out what it does. Curious, his brother turns it on and waits for something to happen, staring at it in anticipation until its lips finally part into a big demonic smile. Suddenly, the monkey raises its arm, spinning the drumstick around in its palm, but never finishes the motion kitchen, and the boys assume that it must be broken. Later that day, their mother leaves the two of them with a babysitter while she goes out on a date, but strangely, when Hal goes to get in the van, he finds the monkey already sitting there waiting for him. They head over to a hibachi restaurant for dinner, but while they're inside enjoying the show, the toy somehow makes its way into the driver's seat, and that's when disaster strikes. Striking its drum, it hits the final beat just as the chef is reaching the climax of his routine, but he accidentally overshoots his target and gets dangerously close to their seats. At first, it looks like everything is fine, but when the babysitter looks over, a red line suddenly appears across her neck as her head slowly falls off, landing in front of them right on the searing hot grill. That makes 2 down with 23 more to go. Instead of thinking too hard about it, their mom just takes them out for some ice cream and then spends the night dancing with the boys in their living room. And for Hal here, it's the best that he's felt in a while, because he's just happy that they're actually spending some time together. The truth is that his twin brother Bill here gives him a pretty hard time, and the other kids at school don't treat him any better. He's constantly bullied by this group of girls that ruthlessly torment him every day. And to make matters even worse, the damn monkey keeps showing up in places where it doesn't belong. One day, the girls corner him with a grocery store's worth of bananas, and coming home covered in the yellow paste, that's when he finally snaps. Storming to his room, he turns the monkey's key and wishes for his brother to have an accident. But he's immediately filled with regret as soon as it starts to play. At the same time, Bill comes home from school and finds their mom standing quietly in the kitchen, but when she turns around, he's horrified to see a river of blood pouring from her eyes and ears. And as the monkey hits its final beat, the woman slams her head on the countertop and falls dead on the floor. This makes 3 down with 22 more to go. Okay, wow, and I thought Bill was supposed to be the evil twin. Well, congratulations on letting a temporary moment of anger ruin your lives forever, because Hal, my friend, you just totally f***ed up. You see, this right here is exactly why they always say that you should be careful what you wish for. You turned that key fully expecting someone to die, but just because it got your mom instead of your brother doesn't make you some victim of cruel fate. It just makes you even more of an asshole. Sure, you might think that it's not your fault because you're just a kid and your life is a nightmare. That's not gonna work for me, pal. By the age of 10, most kids have a fully functioning sense of morality, empathy, and the consequences of their actions. So you're way too old to be using that as an excuse. In fact, the truth is that you got off easy the first time when all you did was kill your babysitter, and that should have been the moment where you learned your lesson. If it wasn't obvious that this thing was pure evil just by looking at it, then it really should have hit you once it started teleporting around the house. As long as the creepy doll stays in the box, that's fine, but once it starts moving around on its own, you only have about 24 hours before it burns your house down and tries to run you over with a speeding garbage truck. So next time, warn a trusted adult before anyone else gets killed. Like, I mean, come on, man, you're a 13-year-old kid in 1999, so I know you've seen at least one episode of Goosebumps on TV before. A normal kid would have been driving their parents nuts trying to warn them about the evil monkey in the closet, but you were 99% sure that this thing straight up killed your babysitter, and then decided to just completely ignore it like nothing ever happened? Seriously, kid? What the f*** is wrong with you? Now, it would be one thing if you put the monkey away and tried to forget that it ever existed, but it didn't take long at all before you decided to use it for evil. And you don't have the right to put a curse on your own brother just because you're too much of a wuss to stand up for yourself. Yeah, that's right, I said it. It's never a good idea to mess with something that you don't understand, but it looks like you just found out the hard way, and now you'll both be paying the price for the rest of your lives. So, sorry Hal, but it looks like you just up. They eventually learn that their mother's death was caused by a boomerang aneurysm, although Hal here knows the truth. The monkey chose her as the next victim because even if you turn the key, you don't get to decide who it picks. As for Bill, he never learns to process what happened in a healthy way and would rather live in denial than accept the randomness of death. They end up stuck with their weird aunt and uncle who make it clear from the beginning that the boys are not wanted. But if they think that their lives suck now, they have no idea how bad things are about to get. That night, Hal decides that it's time for the monkey to go, and taking it to the basement, he nervously hacks it into pieces with a meat cleaver, but as he does, the toy starts to bleed real blood. After making sure that it's good and destroyed, he puts what's left of it in a garbage bag and tries to forget that it ever existed. But even as the days go by, he can't escape the feeling that the evil monkey is still out there. The family moves to a small town somewhere in Maine, and for a while their lives go back to normal. But one night while he's watching TV, Bill notices the monkey's reflection in the window, and when he turns around, it's sitting right there inside the house. Hal tries to warn his brother that the toy is bad news, but now he's determined to find out how it works and decides to turn the key one more time. Sure enough, it's their Uncle Chip who ends up dying next, and making 4 down with 21 more to go. The boys don't really care about what happened to Chip, but with the monkey being so dangerous, their only choice is to lock it in the box and throw it to the bottom of a well. It's a whole 25 years before tragedy strikes again. One night, their Aunt Ida wakes up to the sound of organ music coming from somewhere downstairs and finds her front door sitting wide open. Following the noise down to the basement, the lights go out just before she can notice the monkey lurking in the shadows, and as she turns to go back upstairs, one of the steps suddenly gives out, causing her to faceplant straight into a box full of old fish hooks. She limps to the bathroom and starts pulling out the hooks one at a time, before using a bottle of rubbing alcohol to disinfect the wounds. But that's when she notices the smell of gas coming from her stove. Confused, the woman leans in for a closer look when all of a sudden the igniter activates, sparking the flames, and her entire head is instantly covered in a giant fireball. Screaming in pain, she runs out of the house only to get her foot stuck in a vase, stumbling down the hill before finally impaling herself headfirst on a for sale sign that makes 5 down with 20 more to go. Okay, well, I hope this doesn't affect their property value. This poor lady had no idea what was coming, but unlike any of the others, her death wasn't just a random chance, because she actually contributed to it thanks to one critical mistake. After literally covering your entire face in rubbing alcohol, leaning down face first above a gas stove might be one of the dumbest things that you could possibly do. That's because isopropyl alcohol is mostly built from hydrocarbons, the same molecular building blocks found in gasoline and lighter fluid. When they react with oxygen, they oxidize quickly and release an intense flash of heat. Rubbing alcohol is also highly volatile, meaning that it evaporates easily and mixes with the air, and because of this, the spark doesn't even need to hit the liquid itself. Just the vapors alone were enough to set off a chain reaction that caused her whole head to go up in flames. With that being said, there might actually be a way that we can start using the monkey's patterns against it. Like, think about it this way. We know that the monkey doesn't kill its victims directly. Instead, it takes them out Final Destination style freak accidents. Now, we may not be able to predict who, where, or when it's going to strike next, but what we can do is try to counter it early by making ourselves more resistant to accidental death. For example, based on current CDC data, the most common cause of accidental deaths for adults in the US are unintentional motor vehicle crashes. So the first thing that I would do is stay the hell away from any cars or roads until the monkey has returned to its slumber. Next up is falling, so we're not touching any ladders, stepping on any wet floors, or even going near any stairs if we can help it. You can keep going down the list, accounting for as much as you want, and honestly, none of it would be a bad idea. Anything that you do is worth it if it boosts your chances of survival even a little bit. And when you're dealing with something as unpredictable as the monkey here, you're gonna need all the help that you can get, for show. Adult Hal spends his days working at a grocery store in town, never letting anyone get too close because he's afraid of what might happen. He has an ex-wife and a son named Petey, who he only sees once a year, but that was his decision as a way to keep them safe. Speaking of his son, it's finally his week to see the boy again, and he got them both tickets for a death-free trip to the amusement park. He arrives at the fancy estate where his ex-wife lives with her new husband, Ted Hammerman, an ultra-successful self-help guru who's obsessed with replacing him as the boy's father figure. Before letting him go, Frodo here drops the bombshell that he's planning on legally adopting Petey once the trip is over, and after that, he'll be cut out of his son's life for good. Back at his aunt's house, this dude Ricky happens to find the monkey when he stumbles across it at the woman's estate sale, and what's absolutely bizarre is that he recognizes the thing from some deeply repressed memories of his long-lost dad. It turns out that that Ricky here is actually a secret half-brother who the boys never even knew about, but he ends up selling the monkey to some mysterious person here in town who put an ad out looking for it in the local papers. While staying the night at a motel, Petey tries to ask his dad some questions about his childhood, but the man lies and says that he never had any siblings. Instead, he tries changing the subject back to what they're having for dinner, but it's clear that these two have some serious tension in their relationship. Late that night, Hal wakes up from a terrifying psychedelic nightmare of the monkey attacking him with a cleaver, relieved to see that his son is still safe in bed. Strangely, it looks like somehow the heat was turned all the way up, but as he turns it back down again, he has no idea that he's just set another disaster in motion. He gets a call from an unknown number, and answering it, he's shocked to hear his brother's voice on the other end. It's the first time that they've talked in years, and Bill breaks the news about their aunt, informing him that her death looked like a freak accident, which can only mean one thing: the monkey is finally back. He wants Hal to go to her house and make sure that it's safely contained, but that doesn't work since he's supposed to be spending time with his son. At the same time, a woman in a red bikini decides that she wants to go for a late-night swim, but that's when everything goes horribly wrong. Just then, the air conditioner on the roof breaks away from its fixture, crashing to the ground right in front of him and sending a jolt of electricity through a puddle on the ground, which then enters the pool just as the woman jumps from the diving board. And the moment that her body hits the surface, she suddenly explodes in a shower of blood and body parts, making 6 down with 19 more to go. Horrified, Hal quietly returns to his room and screams into a pillow before waking up his son and saying that they need to go. The kid is obviously confused, but his dad finally snaps from the pressure, forcing him to pack his stuff and leave without explaining why. Okay, talk about a shocking accident. This poor lady just took a dip in the wrong pool at the wrong time. I mean, she had no way to predict what was about to happen, but once her feet left the diving board and the unforgiving laws of physics took over, there was nothing that she could have possibly done to avoid it. The truth is that hotel and motel pools are statistically a lot more dangerous than you might expect. Nearly 1 in 5 drownings happen in hotel pools. Besides being unsupervised with usually no lifeguard, they're often held to less serious inspection standards than public facilities, which can lead to a dangerous lack of maintenance. One of the most terrifying phenomena that happens sometimes is called electric shock drowning, where swimmers can die from an electric current leaking into the water. A pool, fountain, or other water feature could look perfectly safe from a distance, while there's actually an invisible deadly electrical charge running through it thanks to a faulty wire. And one touch could lead to a sudden and silent death, especially at night when the underwater lights are turned on. Scary. Let's go swimming. Now, the reason that pool water makes such a great conductor for electricity is because it's full of dissolved salts and minerals. The human body is also an excellent conductor, especially when wet, and that's why it only took a split second for her to explode like a tomato getting stomped on by an elephant as soon as she hit the water. Unfortunately for her, the only way to survive this would have been to pick a different time to go swimming, but now that Hal knows the monkey is back, he can at least try to prepare himself for what happens next. It may have hurt their relationship, but Hal's been right about one thing all these years: being anywhere near him or the monkey puts you on the toy's kill list. So now that it's back to smiting people again, the safest thing for everyone else is to stay far away from him. The situation is only going to get more dangerous from here, so if I were Hal, I'd have to make the hard choice and send Petey back to live with Ted a week early. He may be a massive douche, but he lives an incredibly low-risk lifestyle, and staying with him can help keep Petey safe while Hal works on containing the monkey for good this time. Once they're in the car, he apologizes for freaking out and says that he was just upset after learning about his aunt. Wanting to find some connection with him, the boy offers to help go through her things, but his father says that he'd rather do it alone. That's when he reveals that he knows it's their last week together, and after seeing how much it means to him, Hal finally decides to change his mind. They arrive at his Aunt Barbara's house the next day, where they're greeted by this overly friendly real estate agent, Barbara. And during the conversation, Petey learns that his dad was lying about not having a brother. He tries telling the kid to wait in the car, but after spilling an uncomfortable amount of their personal family business right in front of this random woman, he makes things so awkward that the man cannot say no, leaving him no choice but to let Petey look inside. The lady takes Hal for a tour around the house, explaining how people all over town have been dying in random, tragic accidents after what happened to his aunt. They've had people getting run over by lawnmowers, steaming their faces off with espresso machines, and even one lady who was bitten by a cobra at the golf course, to the point where there's been one or even multiple victims every single day. And yet they still don't see anything unusual about this at all. Of course, he's only interested in finding the damn monkey, but by now the thing is already long gone. The last place left to check is the bedroom closet, but she has to go through the keys one at a time until she finally gets it unlocked. Just then, Hal's monkey senses start tingling as he realizes what's about to happen, but it's already too late. And as soon as she opens the door, a loaded shotgun tips over and instantly blows her to pieces. Shocked, he can only stand there in total disbelief as he slowly pulls one of the lady's fingers out of his mouth, and that makes 7 down with 18 more to go. Since he was the only witness to the woman's death, the police won't let Hal or his son leave town until their investigation is over, forcing them to ditch their plans for the amusement park and go back to the motel. It seems like word of the accident must have already gone around town, because as the fire department brings out the body, a whole crowd of onlookers gathers outside, including the local cheer team and his long-lost brother, Ricky. Okay, so with so many people dropping dead all over town, I guess the only person busier than the real estate agent must be the gravedigger. Now, what makes this kill different from any of the others is that Hal actually had a chance to prevent it. He had a feeling that the monkey would strike again soon, and as soon as the woman started fumbling with her keys, it looked like he knew exactly what was about to happen. The fact that she couldn't remember locking the door was another early warning sign, so instead of just letting nature take its course, he could have tried pulling the woman away at the last second and saving her life. This is pretty interesting because it brings up an important idea that we haven't even thought about yet. What would happen if Hal could stop a death before destiny was finished? We can only speculate, but based on everything that we've seen so far, the monkey acts in a similar way to the rules of Final Destination. Fate chooses the target, and then a freak accident adds them to the kill count. But if they manage to avoid their fate, then death keeps coming back for them in the specific order that they were meant to die. And if the monkey works the same way, then we might be able to use this to our advantage. Like, think of it this way, right? If the monkey has to complete its chosen kill before moving on to another, then saving Barbara here would mean that it was stuck on her, essentially turning her into a meat shield for the entire rest of the world. Because then, as long as Hal keeps her safe from any accidents, it keeps the monkey trapped in an infinite loop, unable to go after another target until Barbara is dead. Now, in Final Destination, death sometimes circles around to claim another victim before coming back to its original target. But even if that's the case, there's still a way that we can game the system. Every time that we saved Barbara from an accident, another random victim would die next. But then it would have to come back for her again, meaning that 50% of the time, we'd know exactly who was up next on the chopping block, removing a large part of the randomness that makes the monkey so unpredictable. This might not solve the problem, but it could definitely slow it down, so the next time that Hal gets the feeling that someone is about to have another accident, he should try to save their life and see how it affects the monkey's plans. While he's waiting for the others to leave, he gets another call from Bill, who sounds relieved to hear that they're both alive. When he says that the monkey has gone missing, his brother acts like he didn't know, telling him to go back to the motel and wait for the signal. But that's when Hal realizes that he must be staying somewhere nearby. Running to the phone book, he starts looking under S for Shelburne, but no luck until he gets another idea. Flipping to M, he finds exactly who he was looking for, Mrs. Monkey, and just to be sure, he immediately dials the number listed on the page. Sure enough, it connects to a voicemail with a message from his brother saying that he's found the toy monkey, and Hal realizes that he's been getting played all along. Bill already has the monkey, and he's been using it to try to kill him. It turns out that Bill made the connection after throwing the monkey down the well, realizing that Hal was the one that got their mother killed. By the time that he went back for it, the monkey was already gone, but it left him the key, and he's been holding on to it ever since, knowing that one day it would find them again. The trail went cold for many years, until one fateful day he started seeing signs that the toy was still around. It started off small at first, like messages in a fortune cookie or pictures on the calendar, but then the visions got even more intense, compelling him to move back to their old town and start searching for the monkey everywhere that it used to show up. Of course, he was never able to find it, but that's when he got the idea to put an ad out in the newspaper, and finally, after years of searching, Ricky eventually brought it right to him. Since then, he's been spinning the key in hopes that it would kill his brother, but so far his plan hasn't worked. Praying for it to take out the right person, this time it gets Hal's spaced-out manager Dwayne, who looks like he's about to get crushed by a vending machine, only to turn around and step on a rake, causing him to choke to death on his own vape. That makes 8 down, with 19 more to go. Okay, yeah, now we're finally getting somewhere. Hal managed to find his brother's phone number, but the problem is that there's no address listed on the page, which makes finding him a lot more difficult. He could try contacting the phone company itself and seeing if he can persuade them into telling him the address, but that could be a long process, and there's no guarantee that it would turn out any usable results. Now, since he's a local, it might be able to narrow it down faster using his own mental map of the area. Casco here is a small town, and after living there for almost 15 years or more, he should be well aware of any notorious abandoned buildings where a creep like Bill might set up his hideout. By simply scouting these areas and looking for any new signs of life, he could end up finding his brother a lot more quickly, giving him a chance to strike first. But if they still can't find him no matter what they try, then they could try tricking Bill into telling them where he's hiding by playing into his damaged psychology. Bill blames Hal for their mother's death, and his only goal in life is to see his brother face justice. But by now, he's getting extremely frustrated that the monkey hasn't done its job yet. So, knowing this, Hal could call his brother and leave a voicemail, saying that he knows he was wrong and wants to apologize for it face to face. I don't expect Bill to accept the apology, but he might be able to agree and set up a meeting, seeing it as a chance to kill Hal. And that actually gives Hal the perfect opportunity to set up an ambush, confronting his brother and getting the monkey away from him before it causes any more trouble. After another failed attempt, he's surprised by an unexpected visit from the guy Ricky, who's so obsessed with the monkey that he decided to come ask for it back. Of course, Bill basically calls him an idiot and tells him to get lost, but when the guy mentions his nephew, this gives him an idea, wondering what might happen if Petey turned the key instead. Frustrated that Bill won't hear him out, Ricky decides that it's time to take matters into his own hands. Rushing home, he grabs his dad's old police uniform and revolver out of the closet, determined to get the monkey back by any means necessary. Meanwhile, Hal and his son are on their way back to the motel, silently trying to process what happened back at the woman's house. The kid keeps trying to ask questions, but his father still refuses to get into it, saying how it's for the best if they just stay apart for the rest of their lives. As soon as they get up to the room, he tries calling his brother again, and this time the guy actually picks up. Desperate to put an end to this, Hal begs him to just stop turning the key, but Bill says that the only way he'll stop is if he brings Petey to do it instead. It's clear that he's completely lost his mind, and there's no way to talk him out of it, so he decides that their only choice is to go get the boy back to his mom's house as soon as possible. Running to the bathroom, he starts to panic when the kid won't answer the door, but the boy comes out a moment later wondering why he cares so much if they'll never see each other again anyway. It turns into a seriously awkward conversation where Petey gets his feelings hurt and his father realizes that he's acting like a total asshole. Apologizing, he tries his best to explain why he's been so distant for all the kid's life, but before he can find a way to say it that doesn't sound crazy, they are interrupted by a loud knock at the door. Checking through the peephole, Hal sees a guy standing there in a police uniform. As soon as he opens it, Ricky comes blasting in with the revolver in hand and tells them both to get in the car, planning to use them as a way to get into his brother's hideout. Okay, this might be the most awkward family reunion that I've ever seen. First of all, Hal here is an absolute moron for opening the door and letting this guy inside. I mean, seriously, what kind of police officer looks like that and comes to the door saying, "Open up, it's the motherfucking police"? I mean, he could have at least asked to see a badge before opening the door for a stranger with a gun. But now that Ricky has them, they're in even more danger. And when there's an accident-causing monkey on the loose, that's the absolute last place that you want to be. Like, there's 1,000 different ways that they could die at any second, so all they can do now is stall for time, and try to keep themselves as safe as possible until they get another chance to escape. Now, it is important to remember that Ricky here doesn't actually want to hurt either of them. He just wants to get his hands on the toy, so with that being said, the key here is to just play along for now and avoid provoking him or showing any signs of resistance. He's obviously in a fragile mental state, but if he's desperate enough for any form of connection that he's willing to take them hostage over a toy monkey, then that's a weakness that they can easily exploit. They should try talking to him because the more that they find out about his backstory, they'll realize that he's actually Hal's half-brother, which would completely blow the guy's mind. Between that and his total obliviousness to the monkey's supernatural powers, they should be able to tell him something so shocking that he lets his guard down, giving them an opportunity to either subdue him or get the hell out of there. They arrive outside of the abandoned building a short while later, and Ricky's surprised to learn that they've never even seen the place before in their lives. Turning to Petey, he tells the kid to go inside and get the monkey, but once again, the boy has no idea what the hell he's even talking about. After letting Hal explain the backstory so they all know exactly what they're dealing with, he orders the kid to go inside and get the toy, but before he leaves, his dad warns him to never turn the key no matter what happens. Nervous, Petey carefully sneaks into the building through a doggy door, not knowing what to expect when he gets inside. As he's walking down the hallway, he accidentally steps right on a tripwire, causing a fire axe to swing down from the ceiling just a few inches behind him. It's a close call, but it lets him know to watch out for more booby traps as he goes along. Getting to the stairs, this time he notices the trap before he hits it, looking up to see a bunch of katanas dangling from ropes over his head. While they're waiting for him in the car, Hal tries to make some small talk with the kidnapper, hoping to buy them some more time. That's when they noticed a wasp's nest hanging in the tree right in front of them, and Ricky tells him to turn on the high beams, only to immediately freak out and start shouting at him to turn them off. Eventually, the kid finds his uncle getting ready to give the monkey another spin, but the man quickly turns and focuses his attention on Petey instead. Bringing him the doll, he acts like the kid can trust him because it's obviously just a toy, saying how it's their family's duty to keep turning the key, and wanting to find out the truth for himself, he finally agrees to give it a try. Holding the monkey in his hands, he watches as its face twists into that same sinister grin and begins spinning its drumstick as another victim prepares to meet their fate. Outside, the branch holding the wasp's nest keeps sagging lower and lower, but the kidnapper orders Hal to stay put. This idiot actually starts itching his head with the loaded revolver, only to accidentally pop off a shot straight through the windshield. Hal's relieved to see that nobody got hurt, but that's when the monkey finally stops playing, and as he looks through the glass, he sees that the bullet went directly into the nest. All of a sudden, the entire swarm of wasps comes flooding into the car, barreling right past Hal and straight into Ricky's mouth, filling up his body like a water balloon before slowly starting to eat him alive from the inside out. And there's nothing that he can do but get the hell out of there, making 9 down with 16 more to go. Okay, Ricky here just got to see what this monkey is really about in the most savage way possible, but even if he hadn't accidentally put a round through the wasp's nest, there's a way that Hal might have used it for a chance to escape. If you've ever made the mistake of messing with a wasp's nest before, then you probably learned the hard way that they're extremely territorial. After all, to them, it's like Godzilla attacking their city, so it's not surprising that they react so negatively and aggressively. Whenever a wasp feels threatened, it releases alarm pheromones that actually mark the target for the rest of their colony and calls for all of its friends for a full-scale defensive swarm. Like, in seconds, you could have hundreds of these tiny demons lighting you up, and unlike bees, they can actually sting you as many times as they want without dying themselves. Knowing this, Hal could have deliberately slammed his car into the tree, causing the nest to fall and running away quickly before the agitated wasps lock onto their target. With some fast feet and a little bit of luck, he could have left Ricky to get swarmed while he ran inside, but now it looks like the monkey already took care of that problem for him. Still, I would take a second to grab the guy's revolver before heading inside, because if things get really desperate, then he could always use it to shoot the monkey, forcing it to regenerate and buying them some more time. Realizing that he's been tricked, Petey refuses to turn the key a second time, and his uncle suddenly rips it out of his hands, trying to force the monkey to hit its drum and kill his brother. While he's distracted, the boy runs back to the doggy door, where he finds his dad struggling to get inside. At the same time, the monkey stares at Bill with an evil look in its eyes before bringing its arm down and striking the drum over and over again, hitting it faster and faster as objects on the ground start jumping up and down with each tap. When it finally stops, they hear a series of loud explosions somewhere outside, and when he looks out the window, he sees a plane crashing into the ground. Just then, 3 skydivers, in wedding clothes, come plummeting through the roof, making 12 down with 13 more to go, but when Hal gets there, he sees that the monkey's arm is still up, meaning that it's not over yet. Now the 2 brothers finally get a chance to confront each other, and that's when Bill reveals that he knows the truth. He figured out that his brother killed their mom in the process of trying to kill him, but somehow Hal here still doesn't realize that he's actually the bad guy in this situation. He spins the whole thing like it was just some freak accident when he totally chose to turn that key, knowing that someone could get hurt even if it wasn't the person he wanted. It's a flimsy defense at best, but it's enough to convince Bill here, and the 2 of them are just about to forgive each other when the monkey hits its drum one last time. Suddenly, the 3 katanas fall from the ceiling, hitting a wire, dropping their mother's old bowling ball into a cannon, and blowing Bill's head clean off, turning his skull into nothing but a thick red paste splattered all over the wall. That makes 13 down with 12 more to go. There's nothing left for them to do besides make like eggs and scramble, with only the 2 of them knowing what really caused it. The kid still doesn't understand what the message was supposed to be here, and honestly, Hal really doesn't know either, but they've decided to just keep the monkey in their possession and try to stop it from falling into the wrong hands. They're just coming to an intersection when the literal horseman of death himself comes riding across their path, exchanging a knowing glance with Hal before silently carrying on. Realizing what they should do now, he tells the kids that he wants to go dancing just like his grandmother always used to, deciding to just enjoy their time together instead of always trying to avoid death when it's something beyond his control. They move on down the road with a newfound appreciation for life, and just as they disappear over the horizon, a bus full of cheerleaders comes by to send them off, only for them to all be brutally decapitated by a passing truck. That makes 23 down with 2 survivors, but if there's one thing that we can all learn from what happened here, it's that you should never try to control something that you do not understand. The monkey. Okay, Osgood Perkins, son of legendary actor Tony Perkins, who is famous for the movie Psycho, directed this movie, and he must have done it on or around the same time that he did Longlegs, because we were anticipating this movie for a while, and it finally dropped, and I mean, wow. Gnarly kills. Like, when Shorty ran into the mailbox with her head on fire and then freeze-framed, I was like, bro, what? But anyways, if you would have done anything differently, you gotta let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe, and check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. I'm the guy. We'll see you in the next video, and have a damn good day.